Hey everybody, my name is Angela and you are watching Kingdom Women Talk. We're going to play one of our favorite episodes from the last 6 months. Enjoy as you watch this replay.
I remember when Nairi was in middle school and she came home and she asked me a question. And I was something and she said, well, my teacher said if my parents was to say because I said so, keep on asking them.
Keep on asking.
Keep on asking them because your parent owes you an explanation. What's your teacher's name?
How did that go over?
Right. You know how that went
We
over.
already know what it is. But for the people that don't know, how to tell
It did
them.
not go over. It did not go over. Sister girl went back and told her teacher what her mama said, and I'm not going to repeat it on here.
We thank you. Thank you, Lord. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Kingdom Women Talk, where we encourage, validate, and empower others to do life. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 2024 and we're excited about what God is doing with KWT. So first, let us start off by saying Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We thank God that everybody made it into the new year. And tonight we have a new topic, and we're going to be talking about raising adults. Now, we're not talking about adults as in like raising your parents or your grandparents, but we're talking about raising adult children. Mm-hmm. Can we all agree that how you parent them young is different than how you parent them as adults?
It should be.
They still need their parents,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But it's just different.
Yes.
Yeah. So Proverbs lets us know that if we train them up in the way they should go, when they grow old, they shouldn't depart. That is the best case scenario. That is God's divine provision for us. However, along the way, there's some stumbling blocks. So tonight, let's talk about what happens when they do depart. Not only do it make us mad, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
there's
some of them depart because they want to experience the world. They don't believe you when you say, there's nothing out there. What
that's
you
a good-
think is out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them depart because of rules in the home,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
but they don't understand there are rules out there on the street.
But they only think that our rules are the ones that are stifling, right? Because I found, like, even when my children were young adults, I could say one thing and they could be at a friend's house or they could be at your house and y'all would say the same thing. They would graciously do it.
Yes, that's
Right.
with most kids.
But it's like when we, as the parents, set the rules, it's a bunch of flack. It's a bunch of this.
Yeah.
You know, I think transitioning into young adulthood is what I like to call it. That's a tough moment in time for them and for us as parents. Mm-hmm. Because on one hand, we love them to pieces. On the other hand, we love them and we want to choke them out, like at the same time.
I think, just as we were talking even to Genesis earlier about being in middle school, it seems as though those transition years seem to be the issue or the challenge. So as you're parenting through middle school and then they go to high school, they kind of have it.
Yeah.
And then after high school, then it's college.
Yeah.
They're still feeling their way. And that's when the adulthood, I guess, age starts. So yeah, during those years, it seems to be, challenging and you have to parent differently.
Yes, we do. So parenting differently, I think, is a struggle. Because how do we learn how to parent? There's no rule book. So we learn by trial and error or tradition.
Or we say, I'm not going to do what my parents did. Like my parents were strict. They had
I'ma
all
be
these
relaxed.
rules. So I'm going to just I'm going to just take my hands and let them
Let's just
freewheel
really
it on
be,
their own.
Real about it. The traditional way, like you said, use tradition. The traditional way doesn't work. with this generation.
It doesn't work, but we
does not
still keep
work.
trying to force
That's the frustrating
a
part.
square peg into a circle hole,
Yes.
right? And also, tradition says I parent all my children the same. If one gets shoes, all get shoes. One get coat, all get coats. But one might not want a coat, might want a ski vest. You know, one may not want shoes. Well, they just want some boots or something.
Yeah. Right.
But we will still try to force the norm,
Right.
which creates strife and chaos. Because I think the piece from the tradition that I learned was they're individuals. So tradition does not work because tradition
Right.
says you do it the same. This is just what we do, right?
Right.
But they're different. And you're right. And that creates just rebellion. So then to train them up in the way they should go, and when they grow old, they won't depart.
They quickly depart, honey.
Is it because of us, though?
Yes.
That's the
Somewhat.
question.
Yeah, I would say that. Sometimes tradition does filter, you know, because that's what we know, and that's what we lean more towards sometimes in certain things. So yeah, it could put that pressure on them, you know. And I know for me, as I was raising Brajan, as he was, you know, going into adulthood, he decided to leave home because of the rules and because of the things that I had put in place. But I just felt like the structure still needed to be there for him.
Yeah.
You know, so I couldn't forego that. As in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that he had some sort of structure
Right.
in his as he's entering into adulthood,
Yeah.
so he could make great choices.
Well, mine
Yeah.
made decision at 14 that resulted in him going away, being locked up with adults. So the prison system raised him basically. And so he has not departed from those ways. So now I'm trying to raise an adult to depart from the way that he was raised in that environment.
That makes sense.
But you know what? I think slightly we all struggle with that, Sheila, because it may not be in that fashion, but this world is raising our children.
Yes.
The neighborhoods is raising our children. The
With
group they
social
hang
media.
with, social media is raising our children. And then here as parents, we're trying to rear them back this away because they've gone left because of the world, people they hang out with, you know, whatever they're seeing on social media, just many different areas of influence in their lives, which have us to come back the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah,
You know, and they're right here.
yeah.
Very true.
You know, they're right here and we're trying to bring it back. I think I've seen both sides of it. You know, we put things in place. We don't expect our children to leave to say, well, you know what, I can't deal with these rules. I'm going to go elsewhere.
Right.
That's not our expectation. However, as parents, we got to stand for something.
Right.
We have to stand for something.
Yes. Right.
And so often, and to each his own, we're not judging.
Right.
Not at all.
Not at all, no judgment. But we do see there's varying parenting styles. And in one style, it may be friendship like. And another style, it may be more traditional. And another style, it may be they kind of can do what they want to do to a certain degree. And then there's another style where we're like,
They just do what they want to do. With,
period. No,
yes,
just no rules.
nothing.
Right?
And I've heard, you know, parents saying that their children, small children, are little adults. No, they're not. They're children.
They are children.
And I've often heard, my mom used to say it all the time, children want and need discipline and direction.
Yeah, they do.
And if you're not giving it to them when they're young, how do you expect to give it to them when they start kindergarten?
So then that makes me
First
think about
grade.
balance, right?
Yeah.
Because we want independence, and that's not what we're saying.
No.
You know, Mama Millie was not talking about
ma'am.
not giving them independence, but she's saying there should be some structure around it. There's certain things that you can make a decision on, and there's certain things this is just how it's going to happen.
Right.
This is what we're about to do.
Because I remember when Nairi was in middle school and she came home and she asked me a question, and I was something, and she said, well, my teacher said if my parents was to say because I said so, keep on asking them.
Keep on asking.
Keep on asking them because your parent owes you an explanation. What's your teacher's name?
How did that go over?
Right.
You know how that went
We
over.
already know what it is. But for the people that don't know, how to
It
tell
did
them.
not go over. It did not go over. Because Sister Girl went back and told her teacher what her mama said, and I'm not going to repeat it on here.
We thank you. Thank you, Lord.
But you do have, when I was doing in-home family counseling, I didn't, because I didn't have a degree, we had people who were just out of college, they had their degrees, and I'm doing a parenting course, telling parents we have to be consistent as parents.
Yeah, we do.
You can't start off doing this and then drop the ball and then think all of a sudden you can go back to doing that.
Yes.
If you were spanking your child at an early age, they're still young enough that they still can be spanked.
Right.
And I had the college person come to me and say, well, we're not advocating spanking because that makes our children want to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Young lady, at that time, I'm in my early 50s. I got many a spanking, and I have not wanted to hit anybody for no apparent reason. Yeah. That's the problem with our children today is
that area
they
of
feel
discipline.
like they have the right to do and the privilege to do and say what they want with no thought to consequences.
Yeah. Or they do not think that there is a consequence. And I think so often when they become adults, as parents, we take our hands off of them because we fall under the umbrella of they grown now. As soon as they turn 18, oh, they grown now, they grown.
But
Just
they're
because they're
not.
grown, they're not grown here. They're grown in what the world says is a legal age. Then that does not mean they still don't need us as parents. Now, but
they need us more than ever.
correct.
very true.
They do, because this world is harsh.
It is.
This world is harsh and taking no prisoners. But I think the other piece of it is, what's the balance between overbearing? Because parenting can be overbearing as well.
Right.
Where we can be
Smothering.
controlling the world,
Yes.
controlling what they say, controlling what they do, making decisions for them. And that doesn't work.
So is raising adults also mean setting boundaries for ourselves?
Talk about it.
Absolutely, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because
Because we
sometimes
have to set
we can
boundaries.
cross the line
Yeah, can we?
sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're adults,
Yes.
they do have free will.
Amen.
Absolutely.
They do have free will, but it doesn't mean that we don't still sow the seeds.
That's the piece of it. And I think the lesson learned, I think because, really the Lord had to teach me about raising adults. Because, again, what you see is kind of what you mimic. And so you grow up one way, so you think that that's the way that you should do. Or like you said, there's some pieces of your childhood that you're like, when I have children, I'll never do this or I'll never do that. But overall, you kind of take the bones of it, of what you're taught. But then it became, when they became 18, 19, 20, or they start becoming 17, 18, can you still have the same restrictions on them that you had when they was 13, 14, 15?
No.
Right.
As they grow, you need to grow.
And that's the piece that was not happening.
Yes.
They were growing up, but I wasn't growing in my parenting because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And as they get older, I won't say that it's an honor and a privilege, but I will say they have the right to say, I don't need you in this area of my life.
And not get your feelings hurt.
And don't get your feelings hurt.
Boy, all the things I done for you,
Correct.
or girl, get out of my house, because we are now in our feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have this 17 or 18 or 19-year-old probably still living at home. And like we were raised, you're not going to live with me forever.
Right.
And as long as you under my roof,
You're going to do what I
you're
say.
going to do, you come and go when ain't going to be none of that coming and going. This ain't no hotel
Right.
sort of thing versus, okay, the expectation is, because now they're young adults.
Yes.
And we should be talking to them as young adults. The expectation is, because I work, I'm resting, I would appreciate if you come in at a decent time.
Right.
If you're not, just shoot me a text or
Right,
something.
exactly.
I'm not coming in tonight.
Just let you know you're safe.
Right.
But that's a big step because that didn't happen when we were growing up.
No.
Right.
No, because y'all know
The door was locked.
the door, the one I had, y'all
Ain't
knew
nobody
she
getting
was
in.
driving
You
before
better-
I knew she was driving.
Just see, don't do that.
I know y'all knew she was driving before I knew she was driving.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm like, I
See
know-
how she do?
look, I know
She
I
play
park-
so dirty.
I know I parked my car
You
on
see
the
how she
right
do?
side. Why is it on the?
Is she not? You see, now you're trying to hem us up. And she's an adult now, so I think it's just to be water under the bridge, and we shouldn't even just talk about it no more.
Don't try to get out of it. Just say, yeah, we knew.
I'm just being quiet.
Right. You be in Switzerland over
Look,
there.
we're gonna say we may or may not. we may. It's a lot of stuff we may or may not have
Oh,
known.
there's a lot of stuff I know y'all know. But that's okay.
But it's client confidentiality.
Right.
Right. It's client confidentiality at this point, so.
Well, y'all got her to 40. Thank you. 40, what is she, 45, 48, somewhere? Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
But that's what it takes, Sheila.
Yes.
And we don't see that anymore.
No.
Raising adults takes other people.
It still takes a village.
It
Yes.
still takes
Whether
a
if
village.
they're younger or
It
they're
still
older.
takes a
Yeah.
village. And I think the lesson learned in that is how to back off respectfully. Right? I have adult children, so now I just drop it and walk away.
Yeah.
They'll pick it up because I have learned that when you spending more time and you need trying to plead your case about why
Yeah.
they should do something and how they should do it and so
Yeah.
forth and so on and this, that, and the third, they like, yeah, okay, mom.
Right.
So you learn, like you said, as you get wiser, God gives you more wisdom
Yeah.
and more grace, then you learn, I'm just dropping seeds. Let me put that right there. And I'm also recommending it's not what you should do.
Right.
I would suggest, if I was you, I probably would do this. You know,
Yeah.
our tone changes.
Yes.
You know, because at this point, it's no longer the norm where parents have to be in children's lives. We see children every day out here functioning without their parents because the relationships get strained because they're forcing their will, not accepting of where their children are in their life today or the choices that they're making. And yes, we're not going to say, because they don't always get it right. But again, there's a way that we can handle that.
But
Right?
isn't getting things wrong a part of growing and learning?
But why we, as parents, we act like,
We act like we did everything right.
correct. And when they get something wrong, we blowing a head gasket.
Right. Part of growing
Yeah.
is learning from the falls, the ups, the downs, because then when you're a parent who, like you said, is just dropping seeds, making suggestions, they feel that they can now come to you, Ma, Dad, I did such and such, man, you know, and we don't have to say, I told you so. I knew that
Right.
was going to happen.
Correct.
I tried to tell you, but no, you wouldn't listen. You missed a grown man, or you missed a
Right.
grown woman.
Yeah.
You missed grown woman. You know, you out here. They don't need all that.
But that's what we got.
Right.
So all we're doing is repeat that.
Right.
Because we got that. It was like, if we didn't do it the A way,
That's right.
if you went on the A path, any other path you took, it was, okay, you grown, you do it how you want to do it, kind of hands off.
But don't come back here telling me, because I'm going to tell you, I told you so.
Correct.
And they don't want to hear that.
And nobody needs that. That does nothing. That's
I
self-serving.
think it's imperative that as parents we remember where we were and the things that we did when we were the age that our children are.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that because I say that all the time. And
Yeah.
Like at 23, they're like, I can't believe so-and-so, so-and-so. And I'd be like, okay, well, think about it. At 23,
What was you doing?
what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Crazy,
And what were you doing?
immature,
Like you said.
right, running the streets.
And then don't get upset with your children if they go to your sister or your brother. Because my children went to my mom.
Yeah.
My daughter will go to my mom
Yeah.
about several different things. And instead of getting angry about it, I would like, for me, it was like, wow, she feels she's getting the best part of my mom, that she can go to her and my mom can give her now saged advice.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, give her the wisdom of her mistakes.
Yeah.
That's really good, Sheila. And it also makes me think that because, you know, we interact with a lot of people collectively between the three of us. And so this topic, that kind of comes up comes up quite a bit where, and I think I just had this conversation last week. It was like, she would talk to so-and-so, but when she wouldn't talk to me, and I'm the mom, you know, we can't have that sense of entitlement.
Right.
As adults, they also, as adults, choose the same way we as adults choose
true.
who we want in our life and who we don't, even down to family. Because we
Yes.
can choose if
Very
we
true.
want a relative in our life or not, or we
Yes.
want a grandmom or a granddad or aunt,
Amen.
uncle.
Yes.
So they have that same right to choose. But you're right. We would get so offended if they no longer want to have us in their life in that capacity.
Confide in us certain
Right.
things.
But then we never look and say, why?
Yeah.
Why?
And that is a pulse check at
Yes.
that moment. You really should take
Now
a
that's
self-reflection.
as she often says, that's a big girl penny move right there.
Yeah, that is.
To ask the question, baby, don't get mad, but I just want to know why you go talk to Aunt Londa and you don't talk to me? Because they're going to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to say, because I can't talk to you, Mom. You get upset or you want to tell me how I should have did it or whatever, what have you. Whereas
Yeah.
Aunt Londa just listens and then she makes suggestions. It's simple.
Yeah.
Even for us as adults, you want somebody telling you what to do, or do you want somebody saying, well, what I would suggest, since you asked, what I would suggest, if it were me,
I would do.
I would do, or I wouldn't do.
Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, as adults, we don't like to be told nothing.
No,
We really don't.
no, not at all.
So these adults that we're raising, they don't like to be told anything either. And also, we don't want them dependent upon us. We do want to create independent
Well-rounded,
adults.
yes.
Which means that we have to equip them. And part of that equipping is giving them our recommendation, our solution, not, okay, if I was you, okay, this is what you need to do. You're going to do this, 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 right? There's no thought in that for them.
True.
And we never say, what are you thinking about doing?
Right. Or why was you asking? Why are you asking me that? What's going on?
We never we just jump right into solution mode. I got the solution.
Yeah.
Okay, you call me. Okay, boom, I got a solution for you. But that does nothing to help them critically think through this thing called life.
I've had my son tell me, Ma, you just don't listen. You just keep talking. And it didn't hit me until, of course, I got mad. Hung up on him. Talking about, I don't listen. All I do is talk. I'm just trying to help it. I just try. You know what? He's right. I don't listen. I do just keep talking.
But isn't that crazy? Anybody else could have told you that, but because our children check us, we instantly get offended. It goes back to that sense of entitlement. You don't check me as a child.
No.
And then you look up, you be like, they 28.
I don't care. They still my child.
Right. Be like, you don't check me as a child. Okay, he grown with 5 kids and a wife and a mortgage.
I don't care. He's still my child.
You know, so it's a sense of entitlement. It's almost like an unspoken rule that as parents,
Because we gave birth,
right?
that gives us a right to.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
So as parents, how long you gonna ride that? How long you gonna drag
To the
that?
grave.
Right?
Dragging that leg.
How long you gonna drag that sense of entitlement when they've shown us we're not entitled?
No,
We add value.
basically.
Yeah.
We add value.
Yeah.
So if they don't want us in our lives, then we got to check the value that we're adding. It could be non-added value, right? You're just there because you're mom, because you're dad.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're too judgmental. Maybe we're too, it could be any numerous things that we have to really sit and check ourselves and ask ourselves, what wait a minute, why my child don't want to be around me, or why me and my daughter are always at odds? Stop looking to the child, even though they're an adult. Like you said earlier, just because they're older in age does not mean they're older in common sense or wisdom.
Right.
Or even in emotion.
Yeah.
Because if we've been babying them for their entire life,
Right.
where are they emotionally? And the number one most important thing, where are we spiritually?
Yeah, that's true.
Where are we
Yeah,
spiritually?
that's true. And I tried the way I was brought up with my boys. And you know what they told me? They told me I was a bully.
Wow.
And that just kind of like, what? And because it made me think. I felt like, my dad was very aggressive / bully.
Right.
And so it was like, that's not who I want to be.
Right.
Right. So I think sometimes if we stay out of our feelings, then we can hear what they're telling us and what's causing the tension.
Yes.
So I had to redirect and learn how to say things. And they were like, when I come to you, you automatically on 10.
You don't start at 1.
Automatically on 10. So I had to learn, if I want them to come to me, then I have to be able to sit on my hands and bite my tongue. Because I'm showing them that don't come to me.
Because I'm going to give it to you 100.
Right. It's going to be on 10 all the time. But I did not know that's what I was creating.
Right.
Right. Because it goes back to that tradition.
Yeah.
So I had to learn, even though they would say some things that would probably fry my eyelashes off, I would sit there with a straight face and I would listen. Right. And I had to show them that you can come to me.
Right.
You can talk. Now they blow my phone up. Maybe I need to create a balance somewhere up in there between. But anywho, I love it.
It's not gonna matter.
It don't matter. They still gonna call.
They're going to reach out to somebody. Dad, have you seen my mom?
And that's exactly what they do.
seen
They
mom?
call my mom. They call my husband. Where mama at? You seen mama? Where she at? Tell her call me. And then the other thing that I had to learn, that the Lord told me, and He sent 3 prophets to tell me because I could not get it right. He said, I gave them to you that you could rear them. Now give them back. Yeah. We only have them for 18 years. After that, they belong to the Lord from the beginning.
From creation.
Yeah. He gives them to us and allow us to influence, raise, protect, nurture them. Then when they turn 18, they are adults. They are responsible and accountable for their own spirituality, as well, and we are there alongside to continue to nurture, encourage, give wisdom, give grace, right? But I didn't know how to do that. Going back to how children are traditionally raised. I'm like, belong to you, give them back. That thing flew over my head. He sent a prophet to tell me the same thing. I said, okay, I'm going to try. He sent another prophet. And she said, but you already know this. But I didn't understand. I understood it, but it was hard. The third one came. I said, okay, he ain't playing with me. He said 3. Stop playing with me. But it was the best thing for the adult relationship with your children. Yes. Because then you understand, I'm in a support role.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can play the cheerleader. I can sit back and I don't have to be the disciplinarian because you're an adult. What am I gonna do? Beat you? What, I'm put you in timeout? Like, what am I gonna do? Right?
Right. And all we have to do, the other thing we have to do is look at our relationship with our parents once we turned 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As an adult now, would you want your mom telling you what to do?
Correct.
As an adult now, would you want your mom's advice on your marriage? Especially if it's not feeding you in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, as an adult, we need to take a look at, as an adult now, but I want somebody telling me
Right.
or recommending or suggesting
Or offering,
or
yes.
offering.
Or saying, sometimes that's something that you're going to have to figure out, but I support you either way.
Right.
Sometimes that's all they need to hear. They don't need us to control their lives. But I think the issue is with us, wherein we have to learn how to parent differently, because
Yes.
parenting an adult is different than parenting a child.
Yes, way
So,
different.
and that's the piece that the Lord was trying to get me to see. I don't need you in that capacity, because the second piece, one of the prophets, it was either the second or the third one, also tagged on, you're in the way. Because if I'm steady trying to rear their life and be involved, then now I have made myself God in their lives, because they're coming to me more than God, which means that if I train them up in the way they should go, they already know about God. They know about prayer. They know about, going to the assembly. They know all of that, on Sundays, being able to worship. They know all of that, because that's the life I've shown them. That's the life that they have seen me do.
Right.
And now the Lord said, I'm in the way, because I can't be God in their life, because guess what? You want to tell them how to do life and how and when to do life. That is when it clicks. It's not get out of their lives. It's just do it a little differently. Take a more supportive role, because now God needs to be number one.
Amen.
Right?
And we're not allowing them to learn any lessons if we're always, I got you. But you need money? I got you.
Yeah.
I don't have put money to put gas in my car, but I'm giving you my last. I got you. She put you out, you can come stay here. She ain't worth a plug nickel.
What's the plug nickel?
Something my mom used to say, girl. I don't know when I got old. Darn.
Look.
Plug nickel.
You ain't worth a plug nickel. Another Millieism.
On that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Miss Millie. Rest in peace for the plug nickel.
You would have to ask me what it is. I don't know.
Never heard it before.
Me neither.
I bet Jonathan has.
All right, Lord. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Kingdom Women Talk, where we encourage, validate, and empower others to do life. Again, if no one else has said it to you, Happy New Year. And it is our prayer that this year will bring you bountiful blessings and all that God has in store for you. Until next time, please continue to follow, like, and subscribe to us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And also share and comment. We'd love to hear what you think about raising adults.
Comment on if you heard what I just said about the
Also,
plug
let us
nickel.
know if you heard about a plug nickel. Not worth a plug nickel. Comment on our Facebook page or our Instagram page or our YouTube page, because we want to know, because I'm betting that she the only one that knows.
No.
Until next time, be blessed, y'all. Bye.